Folks, welcome to another edition of PlayBranson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. My name's Chris Myer. I'm going to be your host today, and today on the show I have AJ Deaton. She's an entertainer out at the Showboat Branson Belle. First time she's been on the show, so I'm very excited to have her on the show, and you requested her, so we were able to get her on because of your request. So folks, keep sending in those requests on the entertainers you'd like to see on the show, and we'll do our best to get them on a future show. Summer is underway, and Branson is the perfect place for you guys to come and visit. You can enjoy the lakes, the live entertainment, theme parks, attractions, both outdoor and indoor. Now, I have some interesting, fun summer facts today, and I think they're kind of interesting. The Eiffel Tower actually grows in the heat of the summer, and due to the iron expanding, the tower grows about 6 inches every summer. So I've actually been on the Eiffel Tower several years ago, but that's an interesting fact. Americans eat enough hot dogs on July 4th to stretch from Washington, D.C. to L.A. 5 times. So people are eating lots of hot dogs in the summer. It says here, humans are scientifically proven to be happier in the summer, and more babies are born in the summer than any other time of year. Did you know popsicles were invented by accident by an 11-year-old boy from San Francisco in 1905 when he mixed some sugary soda powder with water and left it out overnight? There is your interesting summer facts. Now, I do have a couple things I do want to show you. If you are in town, you're a tourist, and you're like, hey, what's going on with the restaurants? You need to check out the Flavor of Branson. This is the new edition. It's got the Uptown Cafe on the front of it. Every restaurant in the Branson area is listed in here. There are lots of great coupons. You can see where restaurants are. So if you're looking for that ultimate restaurant resource, check out the Flavor of Branson. You'll save some money with that as well. Another publication you might want to check out is the Taste of Branson. That is should be in your hotel room or at your hotel, and you can see lots of menus of restaurants here in this publication as well. So if you're looking to eat at one of our great restaurants, try out the Taste of Branson or the Flavor, and that can help you in your dining experiences. We'll be back in just a second with AJ.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to PlayBranson, and today on the show for the very first time I have AJ Deaton. AJ, good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and so you've been in Branson for a while now.
Yes, about 10 years.
10 years,
Mm-hmm.
So that's a long time in performing, but as we always do on the show, take us way back and talk to us how you got into the business. And then we'll talk about, you're in the Showboat Branson Belle show. We'll talk about that in the second half. But give us the history of how you got in this business.
Well, I was born into a very musical, talented family. My parents kind of started where I am from. My hometown didn't have much of an outlet for the arts or anything like that. So my parents kind of created a community theater group. And so since I was very young, I've been doing plays for them, and they created a group called The Keepsakes. And so they started singing through town and other locations. And so I just kind of grew up around that atmosphere. And when I got into college, I did some plays in college, and I had my best friend from high school. Her name was Loren. She married Jay Osmond's son, Jason. And the Osmonds they still perform here. Mm-hmm. And so she told me one day, it was after high school and college, and she's like, we're going to move to Branson. I was like, ooh, what's that? Like, tell me what that is. And so she explained it to me, and she goes, you should come with us. And I was born and raised in that town. And so I was like, yep, let's do it. She's like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, let's go. So about a month later, we were packed up and I knew nothing about the town, and I was just excited for a new adventure. So you
really came on a whim.
I did, yes.
In some respects. And
yes.
so it was the Osmond connection.
Yeah.
So when they talk about their family and friends all moving here, they're not really they weren't joking.
No. And it was such a wonderful thing. I give a lot of credit to Lauren and her family for me being out here, because when I got here, they introduced me to a lot of people. So I was able to make immediate connections with lots of performers in this town, and that's how I got my first job here.
Okay, I'm going to go way back still, because I read that your first performance was when you were 5.
Yeah, my mom had a singing, like a local TV show, and I was about 5 years old, and I sang Crazy by Patsy Cline.
I love that song.
I do too, and I sang it. I remember the little outfit I was wearing, and little boots on, and I sat in this big Western wagon thing, and oh my gosh, I can picture it like it was yesterday. And my mom was so happy at the end. And being so little, I couldn't hit those low notes, so it's not the best performance.
Yeah.
But it was great.
So your parents really had an influence on you, because they started this community theater, and so you were around that. And so, were you ever in like any bands or anything, or anything like that?
Well, I actually didn't get into a band until I was in college. I think we were called Level 6. But it was really cool. We performed at like the Skydive Arizona and some other places. It was so much fun. That was my first time experiencing being in a band, and I had some great musicians, and it was so much fun.
So you're originally from Arizona, right? Yes. So I was just out in Arizona not too long ago. I love Arizona.
Where were you?
I went to Scottsdale, Phoenix area, so Mesa, all that.
I'm just south of that.
Yeah, so great area. Totally different atmosphere than here.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's dry, but it's a dry heat, as they would say.
Everybody says that, yeah.
So you come to Branson. What happens after then?
I moved here. First of all, it was New Year's Eve, and I woke up on New Year's Day. So when I got here, I wasn't able to see anything. It was pitch black outside. So I woke up the next day, and it was the off season. So there was nothing going on.
So it's
I was like, where did I just move?
Oh my gosh.
But then Jay took me to meet Amber Campbell and Matt Mahobrak in the 60s show, and I auditioned for them. And so they gave me my first job, and it was such an amazing experience. I met some amazing people who I'm still friends with today, and that is how I started my career here in this town, was with number 1 hits of the 60s.
So you got a job pretty soon after you came to town. That's pretty cool.
It was very cool. I was so nervous, but it was very cool.
Yeah, and I know Amber and her husband, because they appreciated when people gave them the opportunity to do stuff. I know they try to do that for other people. Yep. And so you're in number 1 hits of the 60s, and boy, you've got to learn a lot of songs.
Oh yeah, there's several costume changes, so many songs, and so it was definitely a new experience for me. I'd never done anything quite like that. It was either plays or you would do full songs, and I was like, I don't know how my brain's gonna commute this. And commute, that's not the right word. But anyway, it helped me grow big time. I was able to expand my performance.
Because not only are you singing, you're also dancing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do people remember all of these things? Like, it just blows me away.
It really becomes kind of second nature. When you sing the words, you just remember what moves go with it. And not all the time. There are mistakes sometimes where you just kind of go blop, 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 and you kind of malfunction. But then your body's just like, no, you got to do this. And you go right back to where you're supposed to go. So it's definitely something your body's got to learn.
So in college, in high school, did you get any formal training, or is it all natural? Or
I did choir in a little bit in junior high and in high school, and I also did choir in college. I did more acting in college than I did singing, but I've never had any one-on-one vocal training, which I've always wanted it, because I feel like there's always room for improvement and for growth. So just regular choir classes. Yeah.
So in that 10 years you're at, or I guess about 10 years, you're at number 1 hits of the 60s. Did you do any other shows in that time frame?
I did. Let's see. I did the Red Hot and Blue show. I did Barry Williams' the 70s Celebration show. There was the fair show for a while. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think. What else have I done?
So you've done some
I've done, yeah.
Yeah. So once again, Red Hot and Blue, lots of dance numbers, lots of songs.
And that was a morning show. That was a lot to do first thing in the morning. But man, you felt great afterwards. You just like accomplished so much.
You know, Barry was in town for a while, and if those of you that don't know who Barry is, think of Greg Brady. Yeah. And you know, I went and saw that show, like one of the last performances, and it was a great show.
Oh man, it was so much fun.
And I think he still lives in town. In fact,
I think so, yeah.
So Barry, if you're out there, hey, we'd love to have you on the show someday. So I'll see his Facebook posts every so often that he's doing stuff. So now, is this the first year that you are at the Showboat?
This is my third season at the Showboat.
The third year, okay.
Yes, the first time I ever set foot on the Showboat, I was very pregnant, and I was visiting Arizona, and Steve Parrish from the Showboat called me, and he was like, "Are you able/willing to fill in for a few days?" And I was kind of like, I'm 25 weeks pregnant, but yeah, sure, send me the music. And so I flew back because I wasn't really sure when I was going to come back, but since I now had kind of a timeline, I flew back, I grabbed the DVD, I reviewed it for a few days and went on the boat, watched the show, and then had a run through that next morning. I think it was the next morning, and then I did the show later on that day or the next day, and I was so nervous. I was so nervous,
gosh.
But the cast was incredible, and they were so supportive. And we always say, "Shove with love." Like if I'm going to the wrong place, you just kind of, smile and push you in the other direction where you're supposed to go. And so that was I filled in for 4 days, I think it was, and then the season ended, and I was called and asked if I wanted to be there full time, and I was like, "Yes, of course I do."
Okay.
It was so awesome.
So you're on the Showboat. You can't get off.
No.
And so I tell you what, we have to take a break. I'm looking at the camera. We have to take a break. We'll be back in just a minute and we'll talk more with AJ. Hang tight. Hey folks, welcome back to PlayBranson here. We're with AJ Deaton today, and she is a performer out at the Showboat Branson Belle.
Yes.
And so talk to us a little bit about like your role out there, talk about the show.
Well, this year, we've got a lot of different things this year. I am in the cast of singers. I am their soprano, and this year it is completely like stretched my vocal ability because we're doing lots of new stuff that I was a little nervous at first, but we're all being kind of pushed to our limits, and it is incredible. We've got a new Elton John segment. We do a really fun, we call it America's Favorite Movie section, and so that's always a hit. We have a brand new patriotic finale that's just absolutely beautiful, and everything as a whole, the lights, the band, the dancers, the crew, it's the servers, like it takes everybody to make it a full amazing experience, and everyone just does such an incredible job.
So if someone's never even heard of the Showboat Branson Belle, it is a big boat.
Big boat.
And do you know how many it holds? It's a lot.
Ooh, I think it's over 700, which don't quote me on this because it's probably very wrong, but it can seat quite a few people. There are 3 levels that are just full of seats and tables.
So this is out on Table Rock Lake. If you go over the dam, it's eventually on the right-hand side if you're coming from Branson. And at one point in time, they said it was the largest landlocked boat in the country. Now, I was there the day they put it into the water.
You were?
I was, and that was like back in 1993.
Oh my gosh.
And they used banana pills, and they slid it in. And so I think you can go on YouTube and you can probably like watch it. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, maybe. I don't know, I'm guessing. Or it's in the archives
really
somewhere.
Cool. Yeah, somewhere, surely.
So So when people come on the boat, like the show doesn't start like right away, right?
We have Christopher James, our magician MC guy. He's so cool. He comes out and he entertains everybody just to kind of get them in the feel of what's about to happen. And he's just great. Everybody loves him. And while he's doing that, they're getting served their food and their drinks. And afterwards, there's a little bit of a break so the servers can kind of clean up all the tables to get everybody ready and comfortable for the main show. So in between time, there's walk around time. So they play music, and some of the musicians and a couple of the singers go upstairs. If it's too hot, they stay inside and go on stage. But they sing a few songs. That's just so the experience is continuous. Wherever they're going, there's something that they could be watching and enjoying.
So that would be up on the top.
Yep.
Okay, and so when we say on the top, that's like, well, it's the top of the boat where people can go out and take a view of Table Rock Lake.
There's lots of chairs. They sit up there and enjoy the music and the view. The view is just gorgeous. I love it out there.
Yeah, and so they kind of say, okay, time to come back if you want, and then that's when the show starts.
Yes.
And is there a specific theme to the show this year? Is it called something? I know sometimes they do that.
Sometimes, yeah. I remember the first year I went into the show, I think it was just called Celebrate or Celebration.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if there's an actual name for the show this year. But we just do a really good mixture of a lot of things that people like and can connect to. So I don't think there's like one theme.
Okay.
It's just kind of a good mix.
And so you have male performers and female performers, and you guys are going in and out, back and forth, and then doing all different types of music?
Yes, we do all different types. We have 4 musicians, we've got 3 dancers, there's 5 singers, and some of the singers, we have an extra singer for the males and females, and we switch out. So sometimes, I mean, you get a different experience every time, but everybody is just incredible. And that's just so everyone can kind of have a little bit of a break, because we do a lot of shows. We're Tuesday through Saturday. Saturdays are triples. Every other days are 2 shows. So we kind of switch out singers, and that way everyone can have a little bit of a vocal rest. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're doing at least normally 2 shows a day, maybe 3. Mm-hmm. Wow. See, folks, our entertainers in Branson are hardworking, and you were telling me here just a moment ago, like you filled in on another show
last week. Yeah.
And so sometimes that happens as well, where besides your main show, you're helping somebody else out.
That was and that was with the 60s, and I was familiar with it, and they were like, we need somebody, and I said, all right, I'll hop in. And the Showboat's really great. They're just it's an incredible company, and the people are just wonderful.
Yeah. So I consider you a younger entertainer.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I don't know how old you are, I haven't asked, but as a younger entertainer, like sometimes there's this stigma about Branson, and I sometimes think it's more in Branson, is like Branson is just for older entertainers.
Oh, no.
And I think you're a perfect example of, like, you've made a career here.
I have. I've made a career here. I have a family here, and it's crazy because most of my family has now moved out here, and they all live here. They came out here to visit, and they're like, "This is an amazing place, and there's just so much to do." But especially a lot of the people I work with now, they're young, they're some of them are like fresh out of college or just a few years out of college, and they're building their lives and their careers here as well. And I moved here when I turned 23 when I moved here. And so I've grown so much from being in this town, just learning from the people in this town. Yeah. So yeah, you can start very young here.
So when you are not entertaining, what do you like to do?
Well, I've got 2 beautiful baby girls that when I'm not working, I spend all of my time with them. They are the best little things in this whole world. So I'm pretty occupied outside of work as well with my girls. So and we like to spend a lot of time outdoors and just have fun.
Heck, there's a lot of great outdoors here. Yeah. What about musical influences? Any particular musical influences of yours?
Oh my gosh, that's a very hard question. My mother one of her idols was Karen Carpenter. And so I grew up listening to her, and I love her music. I grew up listening to like Michael Jackson and Patsy Cline, because my Meemaw loved Patsy Cline. So there's a lot of older artists that I've been influenced by because that's what I grew up listening to.
Yeah. Well, I grew up, Michael Jackson was in my day. I would skate at the roller skating rink, and we would stop, and we would then watch the Thriller video.
Oh, yeah.
Those were the days when like MTV and videos were big. Now, I saw like MTV, I think, has a station now again where they're playing videos, and I'm like, I think it's out there. Of course, there's like hundreds of stations nowadays, but anyway, it was sad to see him go, but that happens to sometimes entertainers.
Yeah.
If what kind of advice would you give to somebody that's maybe thinking about getting in the business?
If it is, oh my gosh, I just say just don't give up. I can't tell you how many times I would go to an audition and I would have my heart set on it, and if it just wasn't what those people were looking for, and I got to know, you can't let it get you down too much. You've got to say, that's all right, I'm going to try again. I know that's kind of a common answer, but it's so true. Like, just from getting a no, you can't let that break your spirits. You've got to keep going, because there will be a day where you do something that someone loves and it's exactly what they're looking for. And that's what happened to me. And I was given the opportunity, and it's just been incredible since then. So if you have that passion, if you have that burning passion, that drive to do this, you can't give up on it. You just got to keep pushing.
That's great advice. Okay, Showboat Branson Belle, can you give us times of when people can come see you?
Yes, we are. So Tuesday through Friday, we have a 4 p.m. show and an 8 p.m. show. Saturdays, we have a noon, a 4, and an 8. So you've got a lot of opportunities to come check us out.
Okay, folks, go out to the Showboat Branson Belle, catch the show, have a great meal. You can check out Table Rock Lake as well. And when you're out there, you can also go over to the Dewey Short Visitor Center. There's walking trails out there. There's a bunch of stuff that outdoorsy out there. And in fact, you can go rent kayaks close. There's a diving shop. There's a lot of stuff out in that area. So go check out the Showboat Branson Belle. Check out their show there. And we'll be back in just a minute to wrap up the show. Hey folks, welcome back to PlayBranson. We're wrapping up the show today, and hopefully you enjoyed AJ's interview. Be sure to go see her out at the Showboat Branson Belle, where you're going to have a great cruise, great food, and of course, great entertainment by all the professionals out there at the Showboat Branson Belle. July 4th is coming up, and if you have not made your reservations for Branson, you better do that, because I think it'll be very busy as the country is opening back up. Branson's a great place to celebrate our independence. Couple things coming up in the next couple weeks, and actually on July 4th weekend, Matt Gum and Company are going to be performing over at Clay Cooper's Theater on July 2nd, and that is a limited engagement show. We have the Man in Black coming to Legends in Concert, or Dick Clark's American Bandstand Theater, on July 3rd. If you didn't see the episode about that, go back and watch that. But there's 3 special engagement shows this year for the Man in Black. That's a tribute to Johnny Cash. You're going to want to check that out. It's a late night show, and so you can go do stuff all day and go see that show on July 3rd. Our next episode, for the first time on the show, we have Marie Haygood. Without her, none of the Haygoods would be possible. So we're going to talk to Mama Haygood on the next show. Be sure to go to our social media pages. Check us out on Facebook.com/PlayBranson. Like us, message us, tell us who you want to see. You also can find us on our YouTube channel, PlayBranson.com. And folks, if you need help planning your entire Branson vacation, you can go to ibranson.com. You can book it all there, or you can call the folks at 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-ENTERTAIN, or ibranson.com. Those folks can hook you up with shows, attractions, lodging, and even great deals on dining. You can plan it all in one spot. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week on PlayBranson.